What's up, everyone? Right now, we're gonna go back and we're gonna do a story time, talk about my past. That's usually like what I like to do, aside from my usual content, which is talking about current events, political events, geopolitics, international relations, economics, etc. So, we're gonna go back and we're gonna actually talk about some crazy stuff that I've been through. If I have a series, a six-part series, actually a few videos ago. If you go scroll below, but it's kind of like a brief history of me as like a teenager, young adult. Excuse me, and some stuff that I kind of experienced growing up. But I want to kind of go. I don't know why Siri's talking to me, but so we're gonna go back and we're gonna kind of break down little by little over time. I have another video about a time when I got into like a huge fight when I was fresh off, well, on probation, shall I say. So this was a long time ago, so I don't want to hear any of the complaints or anything. All of these things that I talk about on this that are bad, they're not serious, and if they do in any way constitute a crime, they are the most minor of them, and they happen well beyond the statute of limitations, which, of course, in my state, for a misdemeanor, they're usually about anywhere from 3 to 5 years. This is a decade plus ago, so don't jump in on me in the comments saying you're snitching on yourself. If I ever put anything in any of these videos, this happened a long, long time ago. Don't forget, I'm 30 years old. I'm not 25. I'm not 20 anymore. I'm not 15 anymore. And if I was a minor when this stuff happened, well, again, that was a lifetime ago. But aside from that, let's jump right into this. I want to talk about the experiences that I've had in terms of being in tornadoes, which is a crazy one, downbursts, and a hurricane. So, excuse me, I am extremely tired. Again, I've been up since 5:30. I think I mentioned this in the previous video I did this morning on the election from last night. You can probably see it in my eyes, my face. I am dead tired. But let's jump right into this, and let's start with why the hell was I even in any of these events. So, the first time I was ever in an extreme weather event, this was 2009, actually. I think it was 2008, end of 2008. So I'm going back. I was 13 at the time. This actually happened in Milford, Connecticut. Back then, I think it was the summer of '08. I was 13 years old, and I was in a downburst. I was on a highway. I was coming back. I was with a friend. I was with my brother. I was with my mother. She was driving. We were on the highway. We were on the way back from this sporting place that they used to do video games and all that stuff. They've since closed it. But I think it was called Dad's Sporting or something like that. But that's beyond the point. So we're on the way on the highway. It's raining. It's like mild at the time. So we're on the highway on Interstate 95 in Milford, Connecticut, heading southbound back to where I live in Bridgeport. And it's raining. Nothing out of the ordinary. Out of nowhere, massive winds. I would say it had to be upwards like 60, 70, 80 mile an hour. Excuse the chairs. Chairs beat up. But yeah, upwards to had to be 60 to 80 mile an hour winds. Could have been more. Could have been less. Don't know. 13 years old at the time. I'm just assuming. But these winds were crazy. I mean, wind and rain was out of nowhere. It just came down. It was so bad. Everything, all the traffic on the highway just instantly shut down. You could not see more than maybe a foot in front of you at the most. My mother drove. We were luckily near an underpass. Parked under it. Pulled to the side of the road and stopped. And we just waited it out. There was hail coming down. Leaves and branches coming from the trees on the side of the highway. It was a crazy event. And this is the first time I was in a downburst. So the next time I was in a downburst was actually more recently. And this was in 2019. So September of 2019 out here. in excuse me, in Fairfield, Bridgeport, Connecticut. Um, Extremely intense. I actually got this one. I'm trying to figure out if I can attach some of the pictures, but we got a big picture of it. I took from the car, and this was intense. I mean, the amount of rain that was coming down in the storm, absolutely insane. I was with my brother and a friend of ours. This time I'm driving. You know, it was raining hard that day. It was intense, but nothing was as intense as when this downburst came. I mean, this was absolutely intense. I mean, huge trees. The wind was just like, just insane. Like, it just came down with the rain. Rain was insane everywhere. Trees falling, power lines were coming down. I actually have a picture as well of me, the picture when I was facing one of the trees. Like from after it kind of started, the wind started to clear up and you could start to see again. You could see the tree and the power lines literally just blocking the street. It was absolutely crazy. And that day it rained so bad I got caught in a flood. So I actually didn't even mention I was also in the flood where my car was literally got just ruined. But it had to, luckily, afterwards had to go to the shop. It had a lot of work done. Luckily the engine was fine in the transmission somehow, but the brakes were ruined, the rotors were ruined, some of the suspension parts, things got rusted. I mean, so later out in the day, we were stuck in this flood. I mean, the flood was literally coming up to the door. I mean, we were in the freaking car, and there's water coming in the car, and I'm literally, having fun about this. Was like me being crazy back then. I'm literally laughing. Like, this entire event was funny. Um, so I even have a video too that I recorded. I'm literally sitting in the middle of this downburst, and there's rain and wind, like there's branches flying across the car, a lot of power lines and trees coming down. Yeah, I was crazy back then. It was funny to me. Not funny, but not funny, but funny to me in the moment. But you gotta. Sometimes people cope differently, and that's just how I coped with it. But um, so those are the two downbursts that I've been in. Hurricane Sandy, Tropical Storm Sandy, whatever you want to call it. So another time, this was in 2012. I was out with my friends at the time. Actually walked a friend home in the middle of the hurricane. It was late at night. It's like 11, 12 o'clock at night. I mean, the winds were intense. I mean, I'm talking about 80, 90 mile an hour, possibly close to 100 mile an hour winds, barreling down the main street in Bridgeport where I lived. I mean, we literally had small trees flying down the streets. Streets were empty, not a soul in sight. The power had gone out by now. We were literally walking with flashlights, and we got small trees, garbage cans flying down the street at us, where we're literally walking like this because it could barely even get through. The wind was intense. Yeah, we had no power for days after that. Actually, almost got killed a few days later. A gang, they were walking with pit bulls in the dark. They came up to us. They tried to rob my friends and I, but luckily one of the guys that was in the gang, I knew him from going to school with him, and when he recognized me, he literally said, he knew I know who you are. I go to school with you. You're cool. They dapped us up. They walked away, but had they not known us, these guys, they had a handgun on them. They had a pit bull on a chain. They had baseball bats. They had sticks. Like, these guys meant crazy seriousness. This is how it was during Sandy. We even had, the National Guard came in, state police. It was an intense time, but walking through, 80, 90, 100 mile an hour winds, nothing like it. I mean, I'm sure there's people out there that have been category 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 5. I'm sure there's people out there that are dealing, they've been in winds, 185 mile an hour winds. I've never been in that, but, if you'll get through that, you can get through anything. The tornado. So, two of them, 2010 and 2024. Both EF zeros. So I'm not walking through an EF5 tornado saying I lived through it. Not claiming that at all. Never been through that. But two EF zeros, the smaller of the hurricanes. One was in Bridgeport. You can probably look this up online. Probably can get a lot of information because it's pretty rare. 2010 Bridgeport tornado actually caused significant damage to the downtown east side neighborhoods within Bridgeport. It was one of the very few tornadoes in Bridgeport's history. Again, we're a coastal city on Long Island, barely get tornadoes. But yes, we had that. I remember it was pretty crazy. I mean, you could literally just see it. One moment and then next, looking out the window, it's literally wind and rain. It was absolutely insane. Um, so I was inside for that one, but I literally sitting in the window, which I shouldn't have been doing, of course. But I was watching it, and then of course later you go on YouTube, probably can find actual videos. I mean, this is 2010, so not exactly the iPhone 17, and really great quality videos out there of it, but 15 years ago. But you'll find videos, few, but I think there's like two good ones out there you'll find. And the last one was in 2024, so this is the craziest one I think I've ever driven in, and actually drove to Florida during this when it was happening. And I was driving to Florida, actually. I was. So I drove from Connecticut to Florida, which is the stupidest, probably one of the stupidest things I've ever done. But I had fun nevertheless. When I got there and subsequently. So yeah, I mean, I'm driving to Florida. It was raining all the way from. I remember that day all the way from up in Connecticut when I started driving. Don't know why I didn't even fly. I don't know why I drove that time with my wife, now wife. And we drove all the way through New York. We drove, through Pennsylvania, Delaware. We went down to D.C., Maryland, D.C., Virginia, all the way through the Carolinas, Georgia. But it was pretty bad in New York City, all the way through Philly. I mean, it rained pretty bad. Could have slowed down in Maryland, picked up again in D.C., and when I was in Virginia, I mean, it was bad, but it wasn't that bad yet. And it stopped for a while in Virginia. So I got I think it was in Fredericksburg, Virginia, when it actually kind of slowed down the rain. Right, and then I get into North Carolina. That's when it got bad. So I'm on I-95 in the middle of North Carolina. Right, it's just me and a couple tractor trailers. Visibility is terrible, absolutely terrible. Probably worst visibility I've ever been in. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm driving down I-95 in the middle of nowhere. I got the only way I was able to see was I was following the lights of a tractor trailer in front of me. I couldn't see. If it wasn't for that tractor trailer, I don't know what I would have done. Because honestly, I couldn't see anything. But I was following that tractor trailer. Next thing you know, wind, rain. It literally was like spinning up. The car was like, I never experienced anything that crazy. That was the craziest. It's even worse than I think Sandy. I'm even gonna drink this right now. But absolutely insane. And I didn't know at the moment. I mean, I kind of assumed it was a tornado, but I didn't know till then. I got to South Carolina, of course. Rain stopped. Got to Georgia, and the morning time was coming. Then I looked on the news and was like, yeah, all these tornadoes went through the Carolinas and some in Virginia during that storm. It was in January of 24. Crazy. North Carolina was a nightmare going southbound on I-95 there in that day. Absolutely intense. One of the more dangerous things I probably even got in, aside from that downburst that I mentioned in September of 2018. I don't know if I said 19 earlier, but it's 18. Yeah, absolutely intense. So, I've been in thunderstorms where lightning has literally came down near me, and I've been in trees during lightning. I mean, I've done some dumb things when it came to weather, but these things top the list. But this time when I was in North Carolina, January of last year, nothing like it. Absolutely insane, and I do not recommend if you ever have a major storm with tornadoes and crazy amounts of rain, do not drive by 95 going to Florida. I'm just giving you that suggestion. But yes, I made it through, and another dumb thing is I drove from Connecticut to Orlando, not even sleeping. Stopped here and there, for a quick 10, 15-minute break. Did not sleep. I was so exhausted. I literally had to switch when I got to Orlando because I was going to down Winter Haven, so it was almost there, but I had to switch. My wife couldn't do it, cannot do it. I was like falling asleep. I was so fucking tired. But yeah, I drove from Connecticut to Florida, straight shot to the probably biggest rainstorm slash with tornadoes that year in the darkness down I-95 with no sleep, just on coffee. But I made it and went out there because I bought some land, and it is a citrus. They were prime citrus farmland, and it's in that area, Central Florida, right outside Orlando. Wanted to see it. It was a great experience. The next day, sun was out. January, it's like 77, 78 degrees in Orlando, south of Orlando. Stayed in Winter Haven. Great experience. Went back 2 days later. Drove all the way back. This time was different though. I got to what do you call it? How I can't remember the city in Virginia. I literally cannot remember it. It's literally famous battle in the Civil War. Can you remember the damn city? I used to study about it all the time. Manassas. That's it. Manassas. Got to Manassas in Virginia. I was so damn tired. Had to go to sleep for 2 hours at a rest stop. Got back up. Drove to D.C., Baltimore, all the way back. Got back there. Was half asleep when I reached Darien, Connecticut. Again, had to go to the rest stop, sleep for an hour, despite me being like 20 minutes from home. And yeah, that essentially is the craziest of experiences. But nevertheless, I do not recommend any of this for anybody. I seek adventure. I've always done the stupidest and the craziest things, and I do not recommend you do these things at all. I'm not giving you any suggestions or advice on it. Don't do it. It's dumb as hell, and you can possibly get hurt or killed. Don't do them. I've done the craziest things. I will talk more about it in the future, about the crazy things that I've done, but I do not recommend you do any of these. Playing with weather is no joke. And another thing, 2013, the blizzard that we had, a nor'easter in Connecticut, was that February of 2013, I think? Where we got like 3 feet of snow. Crazy. Snowed in for days. I'm standing out in the snow. The snow is literally like up to here on me because of the wind. Don't do that shit either. I used to, well, can't even say used to because I did it last year. I've been doing dumb things for a long time, but I'm starting to kind of pull away from doing that. Don't take the risks just because you want to have the namesake, but I'm just saying they happened to me already, so might as well talk about them. But nevertheless, that's my experiences with crazy weather. If you have any similar experiences, damn, I'd definitely like to hear about them. You can comment below. Yeah, I'm gonna literally put another story time up soon. I have a whole bunch of stuff that I like to talk about, including well, I'll save it for next time. But yep, until then, hope y'all enjoyed, and I will see y'all later.